All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Colman Power Organic Fitness Podcast. Get comfortable, and or if you're walking around, which I do also recommend, just to maximize the benefits of your daily activities. Bish bash bash. The first factor today is a fitness one. You can burn between 300 and 500 calories alone by clocking up 10,000 steps. As they call it, neat exercise. So everybody that I train also is most certainly getting 10,000 steps a day. So we'll be talking about that and other ways to improve your overall health. And in this week's show is all about, are naps okay? Okay, my nighttime routine, as well as that, organic foods in season. These are the three main topics as I hold this warm beverage of cloves that are in, I was going to say boiling water. It's slightly off boiling because boy, makes it easier for my body to start the digestive process and for optimal health. And cloves are actually natural teeth whitening because they're antibacterial. And then I swallow the clove. So we go straight away in onto the first question in relation, are naps okay? So napping is something that it's first worth noting before we even get to napping that sleep in itself is so important. It's one of the pillars of health. If your sleep is out of whack, that just means firstly your hunger hormones and all the things in your bodily system can be affected as a result of poor sleep. So anybody that I train, firstly I had to did gain a lot of knowledge from a book that I highly recommend to people that's called Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep. Goes into real detail about, I suppose, the ins and outs of it, but just to break it down into the most simplest form, there's four main stages of sleep. You have a lighter sleep, you have REM and non-REM. So REM stands for rapid eye movement, and in itself, what's that broken down to? 1 minute, your eyes are moving towards a high rate, and the other, you're not. And in itself, there are lighter stages. Following that, there are heavier stages. So if you are in need of naps, that may be a sure indication that you're not getting enough sleep, maybe the first thing. Secondly, it's a point worth noting that if you are napping, that you're not going into a deeper sleep or waking up in between one of these 90-minute cycles. So for myself, I give you myself as my own best example. When I'm going to bed or if you're going to bed at 10 o'clock, which I typically do, or if not 8:30, 10 o'clock, to get that 8 hours of recommended sleep, I'm waking up then at 6 o'clock. So if you're going to bed at 11, get up at 7, and or inclusive of that, moving around the clock. So you have 8 hours of total sleep, and typically taking 30 minutes or so to fall asleep. I listen to audiobooks, beneficial, or maybe some podcast in relation to overall health, nutrition, organic growing, or things I listen to. Also personal development are things that I listen to. Why? Because that's part of the time when you can retain information a little bit better just before you go to sleep. So learning or listening to those things help me learn, as well as the types of deep sleep in when you're getting those 8 hours is important. Why? Because that's part of where you retain your memory. So for those of you doing all-nighters or trying to study before exams, it's worth noting that a lot of your information is retained when you sleep. So worth noting if you're studying for exams and or trying to cram in before any, I suppose, examination. So then touching on naps specifically, if you do feel the need to nap, which is some certain times I do, just due to work commitments and or there's an event coming up the night coming, 20 minutes is the recommended amount of time for a nap. That just prevents you falling into the second stage, which is a slightly heavier stage of the sleep cycles. And as a result of that, you can wake up and not feel like a bus has run over you, not feel like groggy for all the world. That's really important because that's also going to increase your cortisol and stress hormones, which is not really needed. But what I must touch on, even bringing it back towards, I suppose, it's more about quality of sleep. It's not about the likes of your full duration of it. If you're getting good quality sleep, okay, and having a routine that is really inclusive of something that you can be sustainable with. And to give you examples of a solid routine of sleep, which my sleep is quite good at the minute, just due to the fact that a couple of different things that I do. My last meal is typically containing tryptophan. Tryptophan is a precursor to melatonin. Melatonin is the sleep hormone. You can write these down. Some people write notes as they're going along. The tryptophan is an amino acid and found in complete proteins. So complete protein sources, those of you that don't know, are tofu and tempeh. I always recommend, and hemp seeds, I recommend them first. And I'm going to mention I have a discount code for New Naturals. So that means 15% discount. My name and 15 after. Love those lads. Hemp seeds, winning. Sprinkle them on anything, especially if the plant-based meal bumps up your protein, also would contain that tryptophan. So another thing is that last meal of the day isn't too close to my bed, because I also like to train in the evening, which will also increase my blood flow. And following that, when you have increased blood flow, the amount of amino acids, which come from protein, are reduced, just because they are going to repair the muscles that you have worked out, whether it be squats, that be your legs, whether it be your chest, all inclusive of large muscle groups, that people that I train and mentor. Why? Because that is something that maximizes the benefits of your training. So then when those amino acids are used up, there's less competition in the bloodstream. So when tryptophan, which is precursor to melatonin, ends up getting in higher abundance to your brain just due to less competition, that is also going to aid in sleep. So that's really important to note. And again, that is not too close. My last meal, I'm recommending it because I go to bed between 9:30 and 10 o'clock, Monday to Friday. Why? Because that just helps reset my circadian rhythm. The next thing I'm doing is I'm wearing blue light blocking glasses. Those are the ones that I wear. Those are the ones I recommend. Because what I do is what I recommend. I don't recommend things that don't help people. Why? Because I actually really do want people to improve their overall health. From the foods they eat, from the sleep they get, to their daily activities, to the positivity that they come into contact with and can think about, because those are things you can control. You can control the thoughts that you think, you can control the foods that you eat, and you can control the routine and the lifestyle that you live. And those are all little hacks that I use, biohacks. So the blue light blocking glasses, do have them close here handy? No, not in arm's reach. So in on top of that, there are orange tinted glasses that prevent the likes of screens, light from your phone, your laptop, and or anything else, your television, which I don't actually currently have, because why? There's nothing but rubbish and Love Island on it at this moment in time. There are other shows out there, I had to say that. So what ends up happening then is, again, if you are looking at lights from your phone, your laptop, what ends up happening is you're increasing your cortisol level. You don't want cortisol being produced late on in the evening, particularly just before you're going to bed. So if you are looking at screens, which the majority of us are, because why? That's the way our life has been lived, just a quick use of and connection through social media and or any other applications that you use, maybe games and or looking up pieces of information. It's well worth noting that that is negatively going to affect your sleep, which negatively affects your daily activities, and as well as that affects your skin health. Why? Because that's, again, when your body recovers. So then, touching on how do you prevent this, firstly, either put down the phone, have it a certain amount of time, or wear the blue light blocking glasses that I recommend. And in on top of that, what I do is I'm getting up at a specific time. I'm getting up at 5:30. I got up this morning, and straight away I'm going outside for natural daylight exposure, because that's when you actually want cortisol, because cortisol is actually a natural thing that we need certain amounts of in the body. It is the stress hormone, which is worth noting. And I also do grounding, which again is going to increase blood flow, and inevitably then that's going to benefit me for my overall health, okay? Because that is, again, getting tryptophan and vitamins and minerals going around my body, and tryptophan is actually the precursor to serotonin as well, serotonin being the happy hormone. So tryptophan is actually a very important amino acid that we must get from our diet. It's an essential amino acid. So again, that's why protein foods, I keep mentioning them, please eat them. Whatever foods that you eat, I have no preference towards a diet that you pick. I am literally passing on this information for your own benefit. I am not a doctor. I am a personal trainer, I'm an organic grower. I don't really know good food, but I also grow it. That's the whole idea. This information is 100% free. I train people, I mentor, I coach them, but it's to their own individual preference, whether what foods they eat, whether it be vegan, vegetarian, keto, low carb, high carb, intermittent fasting. That's all inclusive of you understanding foods first and then picking a diet. That's so important. And then I suppose other things that can be important for your sleep is worth touching on, and is the likes of toxins in your body. For those of you that like to have either a nightcap and or would include a drink, whether it be a glass of wine or a spirit before bed, it can negatively affect your sleep. Why? Because alcohol, it contains toxins, and for those of you who think it's actually aiding in you falling asleep, what it's actually doing is really littering your sleep. This is something that we don't realize when we're asleep as a result of small wakes during the night that you don't really comprehend, because why? You're lying in the bed and you barely even notice it. Coming into that, if you are having, I suppose, something before bed, a warm beverage will also aid in a good night's sleep. And it will be worth noting something thrown in on top of it. You could put an apple cider vinegar, also aid in digestion. It doesn't help you necessarily lose body fat, which some people will also tell you. Squeeze a lemon. There are nighttime teas you can get, but again, there are microplastics in that, which is my next point. So the thing is to make it, I suppose, as natural as you possibly can. Chopping up leaves, you can put in the likes of spice herbs. Ginger would be a really good one. Why? Because it's high in antioxidants. Antioxidants reduces stress just before you sleep, also speeds up muscle recovery, which reduces DOMS, that's delayed muscle onset, which I touched on a separate podcast previous to this on herbs and spices that I highly recommend for people for reducing muscle soreness. That's actually lovely. I love cloves. And there's no whiskey in that, only at Christmas. So this touching on the plastics. So with foods, and this is my preference, and just for this one of these main facts, that meats are typically wrapped in plastic. So I am preference towards trying to get things as fresh as I possibly can, and the only way I can avoid a lot of that is trying to go straight to either farmers that do have beef, whether it be organic Dexter that I get from Featherfield Farm, based in Kildare, and other farmers around the West Cork area. But you do your best, and just remember that there are ways that you can remove toxins from your body that we'll touch on slightly later in this show. And that's why I go for fish, where I can get it from the fishmonger, and bringing a container is some way that you can, I suppose, incorporate in another step on the ladder in the ring of you being a healthier individual. So a lot of people have been bringing glass containers, bamboo sealed bags as a result of that, bringing it home and cooking it. Okay, I typically am able to go to either the country market or the fishmongers on a Friday or Saturday weekend, inclusive of that, and that is what I do. Why? Because you're avoiding the likes of the plastics that's sitting on top of the meats or the fish that you are then going to be the end consumer of. So then another way is for you to reduce down your plastic is there is tempeh. Tempeh is a complete protein again that I recommend. In on top of that, why? Because not only protein, it reduces cravings. It most certainly is something that will have fiber as opposed to meat, because meat is a complete protein, may have higher protein, but also you see there's benefits to both sides. So tempeh and tofu can typically be found in a jar. The brand that I currently have, I'll be tagging up in the show notes just for your ease. It can be ordered online and shipped straight to your door for those people that are finding it difficult to find in their own shops. And that's something that I do. Why? Because the jars can then be reused for overnight oats. Again, another breadwinner for people thinking of bringing or needing to bring a healthy meal from A to B, which I regularly do, living the hectic and the busy lifestyle that I do, and having an online business, which I'm super grateful for. But that leads to me having to eat breakfast out of a glass jar. Bish, bash, bosh, maximize the benefits of its uses, recycle, wash, rinse out, maybe take a drink of water out of it even. And on top of that, then you'll put it in the recycling bin once it's clean as a whistle. That's how you reduce down the plastics in, I suppose, your body, because excess amount of toxins can build up, such as BPA in foods that have been wrapped, whether it be the meats, or moving on to the vegetables. This is one thing that organic foods sometimes get a bad rap, a kind of slap on the back of the wrist or the back of the ass. The whole idea of it is that's something that has to be worked on, because organic foods that have been shipped from other countries, to preserve them, they're going to give the example of, we call it cucumbers. They're wrapped head to toe in a plastic that has, I suppose, giving it a lesser benefit than it otherwise would have been if you got it local and got it fresh. So cucumbers, you can also find peppers that are wrapped in plastic, and also find them loose. That's another thing you point out, is finding things in your shops or then again, skipping a step, skipping a stage, go straight to country markets or go straight to farm. There are loads of farmers, there are loads of growers, there are loads of box schemes that are doing plastic free at this moment in time. And that's really important to note. Like the likes of potatoes that are wrapped in plastic. I say, oh no, it looks great. You can see the potatoes, but the whole idea of it is you want to maximize the benefits of your overall health. And the more we choose firstly organic and then plastic free, it's going to aid in what more people looking for that, and what consumers drive demand. That's really important. And that's, I suppose, worth noting now, because that's bringing me on to organic foods that are in season that you can most certainly get your hands on in Ireland and in other countries towards lean, because I know there's listeners in America too. There's cucumbers are most certainly, and I grow a variety called Passandra. They're beautiful. I do that symbol because they're about that long. They're about 25 to 30, not even 30, 25 centimeters. They're an immature, smooth cucumber. They're delicious. They're full of electrolytes, okay, which people are then again are buying from supplements. They're about 90% water. Oh yeah, but you're going, why do you want water? For your skin health, and as well as that hydration, and they're full of fiber. They contain vitamin C, good for your immune system, good for speeding up muscle recovery. All these things I do. I've actually upped it to one, because this is actually what really excites me. People training and then maximizing the benefits when they get things local, fresh, and organic. That's my gold standard. Sometimes people go, Colman, things have to be shipped in from such and such a country. Right now, cucumbers are in season in Ireland, and down, and I'll be doing the workouts on the beach live throughout the next number of weeks. I will be certainly bringing organic veg that's in season, as well as mixed salads with edible flowers. Why? Because this is the peak of the summer. I call it salad season for a reason. June, July, and edible flowers such as nasturtiums, borage, and calendula, all bringing bees to, I suppose, the veg patch, and then inclusive of you gaining the benefit of them. If you haven't ever had an edible nasturtium, very delicious and pungent in, I suppose, a peppery flavor. Worth noting, if you don't have them in your garden, I recommend, or haven't tasted them, I recommend either to grow them and or taste them. Beetroot, again in season. Okay, firstly, the leaves are edible. We'll touch on that. They're high in magnesium. Magnesium, again, you're taking first in supplements, and it's used for over 300 different processes in the body. It also aids in sleep, and that's why I brought that in for the second vegetable. It's in season right now. Okay, if you don't hit your magnesium and you are training and getting 10,000 steps, it's a trick that you're missing. People are recommended supplements first from doctors, from practitioners. I can surely tell you, you can hit your magnesium content from whole foods with added benefits of fiber. Fiber is going to benefit your gut health. Gut health is going to positively affect your brain, because 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. And when you get the added advantage of getting it local and fresh, you're not only supporting that grower, but you're also doing something that's not only beneficial for you, but also for the environment. Organic food is grown in regenerative agriculture. They do not use genetically modified seeds. They are using farmyard manure. They're using like the seaweed, nettle, and garlic, especially on small holdings. These are things you need to be supporting. And the likes of the beetroot, the cucumbers are an absolute in-season classic for you right now. The whole beetroot in itself, for those of you who play sports, there's GA players in Ireland taking beetroot shots of it. Again, you're missing out on that fiber winning secret ingredient for your overall gut health. Get in, get on, and the nitrates that are found in those foods and oxalates that increase blood flow, that increase your energy levels, and they contain iron. They're plant-based iron, they're non-heme, they're harder for the body to absorb, but nonetheless, they're still containing of iron. And to increase that, have vitamin C foods such as cucumber and beetroot, which would be unbelievable in a salad. Bish bash bash, I've named 3 things in season you can add into your lunch or dinner today, tomorrow, the next day. Go shopping, get it from wherever you can, and put it into your diet. Spinach, again, an absolute sure filled antioxidant herb vegetable that you can add into your diet. There's both perpetual spinach, large, broad shaped leaves, and they're both in the same family, full of magnesium and iron. Again, both beetroot and spinach leaves, perpetual spinach, are from the same family, so that's worth noting, and they're very easy to grow. 2 things I recommend. Rainbow chard, also following up on that because they're very similar. Again, 3 the same family. Bish bash bash, get on that one for the win. New potatoes. Potatoes are a carbohydrate that I recommend to people, especially when you're growing them, and they can most certainly be grown without the likes of being sprayed. And on organic holdings, they're not allowed, and most certainly it's something you can avoid. How do you do that? You grow, firstly, blight-resistant varieties. Blight-resistant varieties, the ones I recommend are most certainly South O'Meara, a deliciously large, medium to large potato that you can either harvest early to get them, I suppose, a little more fish shaped or smaller, than I suppose leaving them grow to their full maturity. Because what ended up happening is we tended to look for yield, and we bred potatoes for yield, and bred out the likes of their tolerance to that disease blight that had major effect on the famine in Ireland way back when. And the next thing I recommend to you is growing earlier type of potatoes, early potatoes that you then again won't have to spray. Those are two main tips. So growing blight resistant varieties and growing an earlier crop so you can get it into the ground in, I saw mine in St. Patrick's Day, and then make sure you have a covering over them to make sure that they don't get killed by the frost. That's a major problem with people growing potatoes for the first time. And as a result of that, then you're harvesting them bish bash bosh before the issue with the terrible disease that is blight, that affects the leaves, and then affects the leaves, goes down into the stem and into the edible tuber, which is an awful thing. Don't let it happen to you. Don't do it to yourself. Next in-season vegetable is kale. Whether you're male or female, contains folate, which is so important. It's a B vitamin, and those B vitamins are good for your nervous system, especially for anyone. They're also good for people that are pregnant. And on top of that, it's a fiber-filled, fueled vegetable, and it's antioxidant. I do love antioxidants because antioxidants reduce stress. Again, reducing stress is going to improve your sleep. This is an episode on organic foods and sleep, and this is why I'm touching on these. And any of the things that then are from the brassica family, such as kale, cabbage, arugula, purple top turnips are another one that are very good and are from the brassica family. They contain the antioxidant. Don't know where that's coming from. Need coffee? No, I don't drink coffee. Imagine me on coffee. Clove tea shall have to do. It's lovely. And the kale is something that contains the antioxidant sulforaphane, and the antioxidant is one of the most powerful, just due to the fact that it can neutralize free radicals and has been proven to prevent cancer, because excess inflammation, because that's what antioxidants do, they reduce inflammation. So antioxidants, what they really are in a nutshell, I suppose, is beneficial compounds that neutralize. Just think of it like Pac-Man, and antioxidants are Pac-Man, and your fist. This is for video on YouTube more so than others. If you can visualize it, or you're a visual person, go for it. Pac-Man is, I suppose, antioxidants, and free radicals are your fist, and Pac-Man neutralizes them. And that is what, I suppose, reduces stress in the body. When you reduce stress in your body, you can function at optimal levels. Why? Because you have more energy levels as a result of your body being able to focus in on its other processes. That is then leading me on to one or two of the last things that are in season. These are in season in abundance right now. Microgreens. Microgreens are the immature stage of a plant. I recommend, firstly, definitely the sulforaphane-filled brassica ones, as I mentioned, rocket, arugula. You could grow turnips. You can grow on top of that kale, microgreens, and all of that. You're maximizing the benefits of vitamin C, iron, magnesium, and they're higher antioxidants than the fully mature plant because they're nutrient dense. And literally, you can sow those seeds in a tray, which I also help with people that I mentor and coach that are into the growing, in a tray, harvest within 15 days. Sow seed, harvest, bish bash bosh. That's unreal. Why? Because you're improving your skin health with vitamin C. Your antioxidants reducing stress, improving your sleep. And when you improve your sleep, you increase your energy levels the next day. You're more productive. As a result of that, you're much more likely to train. And whether your fitness goal is supposed to reduce down your body fat and or build lean muscle tissue, that's going to help you. Antioxidants for the win. Final point on the antioxidants today is the fact that they are found in higher abundances in organic vegetables. And that's probably down to, given your example of the tomatoes that may be nibbled, tomato leaves that are not edible, the fact that they may be nibbled by small creatures, and that increases the production because the plant gets stressed. Not like us, we can move away from stress, but the plant can't, and it produces these beneficial chemicals, antioxidants, that are typically derived from color. And with the tomatoes, lycopene is something that can naturally improve your skin health. And I recommend, why? Because they're just coming into season now. If you're growing them, don't be worried. This year's season has been colder than others, so they are typically green in color, and then they go from orange to red, and there are orange varieties too, and there are black. Which, okay, I said final point on antioxidants. The final point, I also am growing and recommend, mentor and coach people to grow purple antioxidant-filled anthocyanin, which again can reduce the signs of aging. Which it's really beneficial. Same antioxidants as blueberries, but you can grow it a hell of a lot easier. And tomatoes are so exciting. Why? Because there's a lot going on. You sow those tomatoes in February, and you do not get a harvest until right now we're heading towards late June, July. And that's something that's really, really, I suppose, the full life cycle. You get to see it, you get to water it, you get to transplant it, you get to side shoot it, and then on top of that, you get to harvest the goods if you look after it, which is a very comparable with, I suppose, your overall fitness, because you don't get fit in a day, you don't get fit in 1 week, you don't get fit in 2 weeks. Okay, it's a long-term, long game. Okay, once you do the likes of a small bit of growing, you can understand it's a long process, and that's what I'm trying to get people to realize, that things shouldn't be 49 cents. It takes a long time for people to think that there ever was, I suppose, an inkling that food should be cheap. It's not cheap. It shouldn't be cheap. And if you get food cheap, that suppose the whole idea behind it is someone's paid, I suppose, the cost down along the way, whether it be the soil has been sprayed to harvest that crop. Following in on top of that, it's the poor individual at the picket for buttons, and or in the transport, and or you're not getting the nutrient dense foods that you think you're getting, as opposed to when you look up and Colman tells you, passes on, that these are magnesium filled foods, and what ends up happening is it actually has barely even half the amount of vitamin C or other vitamins and minerals, just because it's been harvested unripe and brought to you as a result of that at a nutrient density below par. That's why I recommend people to shop local, shop fresh, shop organic, grow your own, cut out the middleman to maximize the benefits for you. Tomatoes, I love them. I want you to eat them. I want you to eat cucumbers, beetroots, kale, spinach, turnips, and anything else you can get your hands on organic. Go to country markets, chard. Get as much nutrient dense food into your diet to maximize your benefits of your overall health. And on this topic, sleep with magnesium. Get into a routine of going to bed at the same time, Monday to Sunday. Reduce down your alcohol. In fact, I recommend eliminate it to try and improve your overall sleep and improve your skin health. I recommend blue light blocking glasses. I recommend high magnesium foods such as hemp nuts and seeds are also high, and pumpkin seeds are really good too. I have them in my overnight oats or my savory oats in the morning with pink Himalayan salt is what I'm currently having. Why? Because I'm changing up my breakfast, and I like, I suppose, warm porridge as opposed to my overnight oats that I have to eat on the go in the van or going to other site visits. So those are the things that I recommend, I suppose, for your overall health, and try get things without plastic, because that's going to be another benefit to your overall sleep, because those excess amount of toxins are going to negatively affect your sleep. So this being this week's episode, and recapping on, I suppose, getting those, remembering that your sleep goes in 90-minute cycles. If you are doing naps, just remember, are you getting adequate amount of sleep? Going to bed in a dark room is also going to help. We didn't really touch and expand on that. You can also wear night caps, as I think they're called, or goggles. What's it called? I'm just trying to think of a word now, and sometimes when you're recording a podcast and there's no editing on this, it's literally something you put over your eyes that has an elastic going around the back. It looks like Zorro, but without the two eye holes. Wear those and figure out what the name of that word is. A nightcap. It's something along those lines. I hear people shouting it down the phone, the podcast, wherever you're listening to this on YouTube. It looks like that. Wear those. But see, it's because you don't want light. Because I'm going to tell you, between the things that I do, I don't typically have lights on in the house throughout the summer months. I use candlelight throughout the winter as best I can, because again, it's something that can negatively affect and increase your cortisol throughout the late evening, which I don't want in higher amounts, as opposed to in the morning when I do want it, which I recommend light exercise. And if you want to do your training in the morning, that's really going to help you set your circadian rhythm, which improves your sleep for the night coming. Okay, and when you get into a routine of it, it's just like rinse and repeat. Keep doing the things that are working. If you don't change, how can you expect a different result? It's the definition of insanity. All right, lads, I love everybody who listened and tuned into this week's episode. Thanks very much. And I suppose there is openings for fully booked for July. We're going into, I suppose, September's organic fitness program. If anybody is looking to join up, Improve your fitness, not only your fitness, but your health and your overall health, because anybody can get you to lose weight, but it's to do it in a healthy and sustainable manner. Eating the best type of food you can, improving on your diet in any which way you like. And you send me a message either on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, that's unreal, and all those social media platforms are Colman Power Organic Fitness. It's my name. If you want to spell Ronnie, you get Ronnie Colman. Different man altogether. Don't know, is he mad about organic vegetables? Haven't met him, don't know him. Might get him on the podcast in the near future. All right, lads, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.